climax of this great competition. Arsenal winners in 2002 and 2017, going for a hat-trick against their London rivals. Well, it was the third hottest day recorded ever in England yesterday. Suddenly got a bit warmer here with the pyrotechnics. Stuart Robson alongside me. Stuart, it's different, but it is the FA Cup final, and we know what's at stake.
And there's a great deal at stake, I think, for both managers to take their club to the next stage. We should see a really good game here. This Arsenal side have been improving under Mikel Arteta. Can they take it and win the FA Cup here?
Well, there's no presentation party, but there is the national anthem led by the British Youth Opera. No time for handshakes either. The protocol we can do straight away is give you the team news. Arsenal make just the one change from their semi-final success only 2 weeks ago. There is a place in the back three for Rob Holding, who came on for Shkodran Mustafi, who damaged a hamstring in the win here over Manchester City. Holding, a survivor from the victory over Chelsea in the final 3 years ago, along with Hector Bellerin and Granit Xhaka. David Luiz was in the Chelsea team that day. Top scorer Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang with 27 goals, including 2 in the semi-final, which was his only appearance in the FA Cup this season. Well, the big headline for Chelsea, in goal, Willy Caballero, who has played in 4 of Chelsea's 5 matches in the competition so far this season and plays today. He kept a clean sheet in the vital Premier League game against Wolves last weekend, placing further question marks on the future of the previous recognised #1 keeper, Arrizabalaga. Christian Pulisic, who sat out the semi-final, is in this time. Paul Willian, who's not fit. And Chelsea have their own Arsenal connection in striker Olivier Giroud, a 4-time FA Cup winner, 3 of those triumphs with the Gunners. And N'Golo Kanté has made the bench after recent hamstring problems. This is the heads-up FA Cup final with the recognition of the issues of mental health.
From the sofas to the stands, you can feel the sound of support. Football is all about the fans. From the highs and lows on and off of the pitch, where you champion each other through the good and the bad. That's the sound of support. And sometimes I know it's hard to find a listening ear or a helping hand. Now before the first kick and that whistle goes, let's get a round of applause. Because we're starting the heads-up FA Cup final in 2020 with the sound of support.
Talk to me. Conversation just to get things off the chest. Think about the individual needs.
That's normal. You have good days and bad days. It's okay to not be quite anxious.
Take the steps forward.
This is how far we've moved on from those days. Just talk. That's the key.
almost ready to go for the 139th FA Cup final, the delayed 2020 FA Cup final. Two young managers, both with history at the clubs that they're in charge of, both looking to mark a first season in the job with silverware. One will it be? Anthony Taylor has the prize of doing an FA Cup final for the second time, the first referee since 1901 to be given that honour because of the difficulties of getting those who are screened health-wise and, if you like, disinfected, ready for the job in hand. So the refereeing fraternity has come up with a solution, a regular Premier League referee, even though he's done the final before, and he did this final before 3 years ago when Arsenal lined up and then beat Chelsea. Countdown is underway. As has been the case before every major football match in this country since the restart, taking the knee. That's very much the message that these top footballers are sending around the world. And now there's a football match, Stuart, to watch, which is being studied around the world as well. And it is a tough one to predict.
Certainly is. Both teams playing exactly the same shape. 3 at the back, 4 across midfield, and then 3 up front. Type of centre-forward, Giroud for Chelsea, playing in the centre-forward position. He's going to be the link-up player for Chelsea. Lacazette, likewise to a certain degree, but he'll also have that little bit of pace to run in behind, like Zuma.
First free kick goes Arsenal's way. Both clubs have beaten 3 rival Premier League teams and 2 from the Championship on their way to the final. Both have conceded just 2 goals along the way. Chelsea have scored 10, Arsenal 9. Arsenal certainly were surprise winners over Manchester City here 2 weeks ago. Maybe slightly less so. Chelsea and Manchester United was a tougher divide to try and bridge with an opinion. Chelsea came through strongly, and Manchester United were on a very good run going into that game, were beaten. So we could have had an all-Manchester final. We've got an all-London one. Back towards Giroud. Of course, Arsenal have spoken lengthily about how they're going to try and cope with him. Here's Rudiger. The 3 centre-backs with Zuma and captain Azpilicueta. Stuart says very much like for like in terms of shape. We wondered whether Chelsea would go to a back 4. And certainly got the flexibility to do that should the game perhaps need that kind of tweak. But at the moment they're going to line up as expected, very much the teams to be expected. And then with Reece James in the Chelsea lineup, that was the clue that it would be wing backs, Marcos Alonso on the other flank.
I think there's 2 key battles. Pulisic up against Holding. It's going to be a key battle down this near side. On the other side, Aubameyang against Azpilicueta.
Good run by Maitland-Niles, who gets the cross in, and the first opportunity really comes Aubameyang's way. Maitland-Niles, who really was a surprise choice for the semi-final, but did very well against Riyad Mahrez. It shows some attacking thrust here.
It's a good run from him, breaks the offside line, gets to the byline as well. It's really well just to whip a cross in. It's also a good move in the box.
And Chelsea in their 14th final, Arsenal going for their 14th win, nearly taking the lead through number 14. Captain Aubameyang has only ever played 2 previous FA Cup ties for the club. He scored 3 goals in those 2 games. Been from Cotton Wool. Jack has caught out here, and the first save at full stretch for Martinez as Mason Mount, who scored from a similar position in the semi-final, let fly in the final.
Well, does he make the right decision here? Yeah, Giroud to his right-hand side, who was free. Tierney had to come much tighter in. It's a decent save, a nice height for the goalkeeper.
You can see from that angle what he had to aim at, though.
Giroud was furious the ball wasn't played to him. That was Chelsea winning the ball back in midfield off Ceballos.
Mount's next job is to take the corner. Chelsea goes short. And it's put in by James. Comes out to Alonso. He's just trying to tuck it back into the centre rather than try his luck on a dropping ball with the volley from a tight angle.
Really big chance with the header. Aubameyang.
Yeah, chance apiece, really. The defensive records of the two teams suggest there should be goals. So often tenser and tighter. That won't be the case with no fans and pressure only really self-applied. About to find out. Open games, the two semis here, weren't they, with no crowds?
That's the ball that Arsenal want to play. So they've got a little bit of space in midfield. Aubameyang trying to make the run in behind Azpilicueta.
Pulisic. Around the corner, he found Giroud. Actually had time to turn, but wasn't told by his teammates. He's pushed in by Mount, and Pulisic has worked his way through. And it certainly isn't going to finish 0-0. A goal inside 5 minutes, and it's come from the United States of America. Christian Pulisic gives Chelsea the lead at Wembley in the FA Cup final. Arsenal got away with some hesitations in the early minutes of the semi, but they didn't get away with this one.
Well, already Arsenal are struggling in midfield. Pulisic came in, Mason Mount in behind their midfield. Some good combination play here. Pulisic runs down the side of Holding, doesn't get tight enough. This is Pulisic taking it on, just lifts it over the goalkeeper. Really good play from the midfield players. Giroud setting it up as well. Pulisic with the first touch that takes him beyond the defenders, and then a clever finish back across the goalkeeper.
It's another Wembley assist for Olivier Giroud, who just loves this place. And he's put his old club behind and given Frank Lampard's team the lead with that ball for Pulisic. Here's Nicola Pepe, and there's work for Caballero, and it's the kind of start that the fans would be loving here, really. With, attacking intent from both these London clubs. But Pulisic has scored. Giroud had a hand in it, or a foot in it, I should say. Here's Alonso.
Chelsea did very brave. Has gone very high on that right-hand side. It means Mason Mount is playing in behind Giroud at times. That's how the goal was created. He's trying to find a lot of space in behind Ceballos and Xhaka.
He's got himself into double figures prior to the final of Christian Pulisic. And he's missed some of the season through injury. But there's been more than enough stardust, really, that he's sprinkled his first season in English football. Well, technically not his first season in English football. He played as a schoolboy. He lived in England for a few months. He was very young. This is the big league, as they would say in the States. And here's David Luiz. He left Chelsea around a year ago. In terms of the league form, Chelsea won at Arsenal in December, and it was 2-2 at Stamford Bridge when Chelsea actually had a man advantage and allowed Hector Bellerin to knock in an equaliser, and it was a very good point for Arsenal. It was a suggestion that they were beginning to get their act together under Mikel Arteta. And if you look at the league table since Arteta got the job, they would be in the top four. They finished 4 places lower than that. Fourth place over the whole campaign, which has given them the ties of Champions League football next season. They're still in the Champions League this season, although a pretty tall order to stay in it. 3-0 down from a home defeat against Bayern Munich before the lockdown. The second leg is next Saturday in Germany.
There's an example of Arsenal not playing out from the back particularly well. The opposition want to press you high up the field, which Chelsea were doing. Sometimes you have to go that little bit longer. He balls into your front players.
Kovacic. Must have been a real temptation for Frank Lampard to use N'Golo Kanté, but no match practice, just a week of training. I think he's taken probably the sensible course. Jorginho's been back in favour, while Kanté's been out. experienced campaigner for matches of this magnitude. Kovacic's side kick going a bit too far. Ball forward. Chelsea got this absolutely right.
You see the ball played forward. There's the ball round the corner. Mason Mount just plays it into the box. Pulisic continued his run. He was the player that started it all off. Swapped positions with Mason Mount. What a good finish it was from Pulisic.
Again. There's space out here for Marcos Alonso. Pass has just made him hold a moment, allowed Arsenal just to set up in their shape a little bit better. I do feel it's important for Mikel Arteta to get his team into European football. He wants to spend some money. He's made it quite clear that the squad needs strengthening. But whether the financial deprivation of not playing European football will mean that the purse strings will be tightened by the American owners, we'll see. Here's the American player, Pulisic. He's going to set himself up for another one. Pushed out by Martinez and reclaimed at the second attempt. But what a lively start from Christian Pulisic.
And they've tactically got it absolutely right at the moment. The two wide players are coming in field and finding that bit of space. He got away from holding to start with. He always closes down quite quickly enough. Just a nice height again for Martinez.
It's a good recovery. It needed to be from James, but it's not completed. Aubameyang. And Niles getting forward again to good effect. Chelsea with a man down, but Arsenal a goal down. Are going to play on here. Pepe just couldn't lift it high enough for Lacazette.
Watching it again, Niles making that forward run down the left-hand side. Showed really good pace and strength to get away from James. He just couldn't quite lift it over Zuma. Went down. Jorginho that took the whack.
Chelsea have not defended set pieces very capably this season, especially Arsenal now crowding Caballero, and it's too long. And from southwest London, not really tested by Pepe's delivery. Plenty of time for Arteta to steer a recovery exercise here. But Frank Lampard has got the boost of the early goal. In 5 FA Cup finals for Chelsea, won 4 of them. The one he lost actually was to Arsenal back in 2002. Remember, an outstanding goal from Ray Parlour. And the final was played as this stadium was being built. It was played down in Cardiff. Alonso. Of course, we mentioned the previous finals in this competition. Stuart, we shouldn't forget that at the end of last season they met in the Europa League final and Chelsea won it at a canter. Started off in that vein here. James.
Going very high and wide on that right-hand side. Alonso down this left-hand side. That's why those two front players, Pulisic and Mason Mount, go that little bit narrower.
Kovacic into Pulisic, whose layoff was played a little blind that time, and Arsenal to try and construct something through Granit Xhaka and Dani Ceballos. They formed quite a decent partnership over the second half of the season. Xhaka in particular back in favour after some petulant behaviour cost him the captaincy. But with Aubameyang taking it on, I think it's Anthony Taylor is going to have to produce at least a judgment call here, if not a card.
Kovacic overrun the ball up against Xhaka. Xhaka went for the challenge standing up. Kovacic gets away from here and then dives into the challenge. The Arsenal players saying it was a really poor challenge. We'll see from this angle. I'm not sure it's a poor challenge. It's a foul.
It wasn't a great challenge by Xhaka either.
No.
He's concerned that
Xhaka puts his foot across the ball, over the top of the ball.
Yeah. That's why I think it's a difficult judgment call. The yellow card is out for Kovacic, who's seen as the instigator of that. It's always tricky for the player who's pushed the ball a bit too far ahead, and he's chasing the ball. But Xhaka didn't like really what he thought was coming.
And Xhaka stayed on his feet and went over the top. The player that slides in, Kovacic, is the one that gets the booking.
Attempted a clever ball down the side towards overlapping Bellerin. Ceballos. Nice little triangle for Arsenal. Chelsea struggling to keep up with it and giving away the free kick. It's just about within range, you would think.
He's got some ability. Ceballos, when he's running with the ball, changing direction. Actually, Kovacic, I think Jorginho is the player that catches him just there.
It's just as well for Kovacic. It wasn't him, really.
He should have got away from the situation pretty quickly, really.
So it's a free kick to Arsenal. And a very bright first 15 minutes between these two London rivals for this FA Cup final in unique circumstances. And when we talk about that, we should praise the football authorities in England and elsewhere around the world, of course, where they've managed to get the game at the top level back for all the fans who can't come into the stadiums but do get the chance to watch these games on television. I hope you're enjoying what's been a very bright start wherever you're watching around the world on a very bright late afternoon here in London. A couple of options here. And it's just too high from Ceballos, who's still a lone player. Again, talking about Arsenal's finances, whether they will have the resources to buy him from Real Madrid.
Just gets underneath it. You can see what technique he's trying to use. Almost the inside of his foot just to get that little bit of dip and swerve on it. He certainly had a better second half to the season than he did the first. He's the first pick.
He came up with a vital goal in the quarter-final, the late winner at Sheffield United. He does like to get on the ball and skim passes forward like this one, which Pepe runs down and gets to first. Slightly lunging challenge by Rudiger, and then Pepe replied in kind.
He's certainly got some pace, Pepe. Really good to the ball. Just couldn't get away from him in the end.
It's interesting hearing him talk in the build-up to the final that he's not pleased really with his efforts in his first season with Arsenal. Came for a big fee. He knows he can do better. Big chance for him to make a statement today, particularly now that Arsenal are a goal down. They'll be looking at their attacking talents. Here's Bellerin. Ceballos. Player in his first season, Kieran Tierney, the Scot by football nationality, actually born in the Isle of Man, where football is, I think, coming into the non-league scene, and that more grassroots level is able to start again next season. I don't think there's any sign that Kieran Tierney will be leaving Arsenal for a game in his birthplace. I'm sure he'll support the initiatives.
This is where Arsenal needed to go a bit longer. So he's under a lot of pressure here.
And it's Pepe who stumbles and finds an exit route with the help of David Luiz. This is better from Arsenal. They played from the back to get the first goal beautifully against Manchester City. Going to come up with something similar here. But, the numbers were arriving in the middle. But Maitland-Niles, who's certainly making an impression going forward on that far side, couldn't deliver this time.
He's in that forward area. He's up against one of the best 1v1 defenders in the Premier League. Equator knew exactly what he was going to do.
This is the 21st final in the 21st century, and Arsenal or Chelsea have appeared in 14 of them. And for a third time in the period, both of them are in it. They have been, since the millennium, they have been really the two FA Cup teams in terms of getting a much bigger than expected share of the silverware. Nice take by Azpilicueta. Caballero is not far short of the oldest FA Cup final goalkeeper, certainly in modern times. David Seaman of Arsenal, of course, when he was 39. Caballero will be 39 in September. Here's Marcos Alonso. Taken on by Jorginho. Chelsea, who fancy that they can pass their way through Arsenal. Just lost a little bit of tempo in this particular move. They'll start from deeper again. Trying to switch a play which was rather over-ambitious from Azpilicueta. Timo Werner's actually here. They're signed for next season. There's Hakim Ziyech, who we haven't seen yet, but might be here. He's coming from Ajax. That's the kind of run that Aubameyang hopes to get. That was a bit straight, but often from right outside infield. And no one's quite sure who's to pick him up defensively.
And there was a big chance because he made the right run. If the ball had been better, he was in. There was a mix-up between James and Azpilicueta about who was going to pick Aubameyang up. It's a big danger, yet neither of them actually got close to him in the end.
By Zuma, but just out. Not with any great perception in terms of finding Giroud. Very much the target.
Interesting that position that Maitland-Niles is taking up. We have seen many times Guardiola do that with his full-backs or wing-backs, get them coming in field. Maitland-Niles is making forward runs, then coming in field. It's giving James one or two problems defensively.
And you might allocate that to the connection between Mikel Arteta and Pep Guardiola. And we've reached the halfway point, the official drinks break, but it is becoming a timeout in football. Whether that will continue when we are eventually back to normality. It is a warm afternoon, so the drinks are important for rehydration, but also these a few seconds for, you see Frank Lampard very animated there, trying to get his point across. And he will have seen one or two things to worry him, despite the fact that he's got the boost of that early goal.
Yeah, it looks as though Arsenal's been fairly lopsided in the way they're playing. There's lots of width and forward movement down that left-hand side. Bellerin is playing that little bit deeper on the right, so they go at times back to a back four to allow Maitland-Niles to get forward. Bellerin just tucks across. Tierney tucks across to become a normal left back. Tierney's the player that Mikel Arteta is talking to at the moment, but that's the player that separates the two sides, and what a good goal it was.
There was some talk that he came back from lockdown with, in the right sense, a little bit more timber on him, a little bit heavier, a little bit more able to withstand the kind of football that the Premier League brings.
You said that about me as well, but I wasn't quite so pleased.
And that was when you were playing. But his sturdiness, if you like, to add to his obvious skill, will make him an even better player. It was a compliment to Christian Pulisic.
It took a little bit of time to settle into Frank Lampard's team. Mason Mount preferred in those early games of the season, but he's certainly come good in the latter part of it.
Lacazette can't spin it forward to where Maitland-Niles have got to again. It's gone out. Pulisic, of course, was at Borussia Dortmund with Aubameyang. Chip put on hold today. David Luiz.
Just looking at Arsenal again. Maitland-Niles is coming infield to take James in with him, so it leaves the space for Aubameyang to make that run down the side of Azpilicueta. That's the idea behind me in Arteta's tactics.
It's been, as you probably might expect, the case that the team that is higher in the end of season standings in the league that wins. And the flag has gone up here. Well, the ball's put in by Pepe in very good style. Now this will be a VAR call. He couldn't have hit that better. But, didn't hear the whistle, Stuart. Obviously, if the whistle's gone, it's irrelevant.
Yeah, certainly, there's the pass. And that's the one where they give offside, or will be given offside. What a good finish it was. It was a good bit of movement as well.
Well, the check is completed, and that beautiful moment for Nicola Pepe is, in the end, consigned to the refuse bin, sadly, from Arsenal's point of view, because the offside ruling was upheld, and rightly so.
But it just showing that Arsenal getting back into this game. Their movement down that left-hand side is now causing problems. What a good finish it was from Pepe as well.
Here's Tierney. They might get the ball over the top, and when they get Aubameyang in, there are problems for Chelsea. Anthony Taylor has pointed for the penalty. It was a big call for this experienced official, and now it was calling for a red card from the Arsenal point of view. That's a yellow.
It's been coming. Here it is. Ball over the top. Why Azpilicueta's not giving more distance off at the back? He does put his arm on him at some point. There's a little push there from Aubameyang. What does Azpilicueta do here? There's the right arm just going round the body. There's the left arm on his shoulder. Aubameyang is actually not running towards the ball. Having given the penalty, I'm not sure the VAR is going to change this.
No, they have to rule it a clear and obvious error from, as I say, a very experienced official. Azpilicueta gets only the yellow. But, unless VAR have an alternative view, Arsenal have got a penalty.
I'm not sure why Azpilicueta, the big threat, and we know it before the game, is the ball played over the top for Aubameyang. I say it's in the box or outside the box.
It's a big call here as to whether it's inside. If it's carried on inside, it should be a penalty. But it is, I think, the placing of the offence that VAR are checking rather than whether it's an offence or not.
And the decision about a yellow card and a red card could be changed if it was outside the box.
Penalty given. So the yellow card stays. And it certainly was a clear goal-scoring opportunity. So Azpilicueta, in a strange sense, probably relieved. Well, here he is. Aubameyang, who has had a wonderful season again. 27 goals. And he scored in every FA Cup tie that he's played in. That's not saying a huge amount. This is only the third. It would be an absolutely priceless goal for the team that he captains, and the club, of course, are desperate for him to stay and sign a new deal. That's still up in the air. Here he goes, Aubameyang, and he fires it in, and Arsenal are level, and the signs have been there, Stuart.
For them to score in exactly that sort of way. Not so much the penalty, but the ball over the top. Movement down that left-hand side has been causing Chelsea problems. James and Azpilicueta haven't been quite sure who to pick up, Maitland-Niles or Aubameyang, and Aubameyang's run was brilliant. Timed it to perfection. The ball over the top was good. At the end, the penalty is excellent. Right into the corner. Caballero goes the wrong way. This is a man playing with great confidence. Look at that for a penalty.
I have a feeling he missed one in a North London derby here when Spurs were playing at Wembley, at that end of the stadium as well. But no nerves betrayed, no nerves seen, and the ball bulges the back of the Chelsea net, and it is 1-1, and it's living up to those who predicted a good few goals today because of the defensive frailties of both these clubs from the capital. Pulisic early for Chelsea, Aubameyang from the spot for Arsenal when the two captains came together. Azpilicueta was penalised.
Well, the ball was played into Giroud. David Luiz got tight to him. That was a knee in the back. I think that's what Giroud was trying to tell the referee. Goes down, just standing there for a couple of seconds. Big scream as well. Just took him back right at the bottom of the spine, does Giroud.
I've seen more of a knee in the back than that one, but it is a painful spot to get it right at the base of the spine. And what it does do is hamper mobility if it stiffens up.
Apart from setting up the goal, Giroud hasn't been able to get the better of the centre-half so far when balls have been played up to him.
And he's kept out Tammy Abraham, who would be bursting to get the chance to play today if it was at obviously not this way. Giroud is somewhat immobilised. One from Azpilicueta, time for David Luiz. His touch was superb. The Arsenal players have been sticking up for their Brazilian centre-back because he's had a lot of criticism, particularly when the restart happened and Arsenal were involved on the very first evening. And David Luiz gave away a penalty, got sent off and looked like he would not play for Arsenal again. His deal was coming to an end. It had to be extended beyond June the 30th. And it seemed no way that Arsenal would do that. But Mikel Arteta believed in him and his teammates believed in him. The deal is done. He's got another year. And here's Pulisic. And Anthony Taylor has given Arsenal a free kick.
I think he said that Alonso ran into the player that was just about to challenge Pulisic. And they held him off as the challenge was coming in.
Body check, well spotted.
Surprised the player that was trying to get there. Alonso committed the foul. There's even more problems because Lacazette is going deeper at times, taking Zuma in with him. So Azpilicueta is defending a massive area up against Aubameyang.
There's been a huge demand physically on the players over this last 6 weeks period. To say there might be a problem, maybe a muscle that's been overused over the last few weeks. Chelsea had a lot of games being involved in the FA Cup as well as obviously finishing off the Premier League campaign with a lot at stake. They achieved their target, getting into the top four.
The player that's down and he's had to chase back. He's had to make a lot of 30, 40-yard sprints at the start of this game.
Andreas Christensen is the most likely replacement, whether he'd go to the right side of the back three or to the middle of the back three where he's played a little bit more often.
Yeah, there's no contact with anybody, so it looks as though he's definitely pulled a muscle here. Azpilicueta. That was a great example, great shot. Now Zuma had gone infield or further forward with Lacazette and the ball was played in behind him. He's done that on 3 or 4 occasions now, Azpilicueta. It's caused him to pull his hamstring.
And the stretcher is on. And remember, this isn't the end of Chelsea's season today. They go to Munich to play Bayern next weekend. And then after that, it's not too long, of course, till the restart is scheduled for September the 12th.
That was the penalty. He did grab his shirt before he got into the box, and then it continued into the box.
I think that was the key, wasn't it? Caballero had a great League Cup final in his Manchester City days, saved 3 penalties in a shootout, but he couldn't save the penalty here from the Arsenal skipper. So Jody Morris giving the instructions to Andreas Christensen.
play. He's going to slot into the right-hand side of that back three.
They move Zuma to the right. Zoom to the left, Rudiger to the right. They won't want to disrupt all three positions.
It's a big decision because the player that's going to cause the problems is Aubameyang with his runs that he's making exactly down that channel.
That's been part of, if you like, it is a wear and tear. The stress of the first 34 minutes here. Cesar Azpilicueta, who's had most of Arsenal's better attacks to deal with in that right centre-back position of the back three, and then got found wanting against the speed of Aubameyang for the penalty. Jorginho gets the armband. Andres Christensen is coming on, and the other members of the back line just asking the question, and I think we've got our answer, Stuart, haven't we?
Yeah, he's gone into the middle, and Zuma has gone to the right of the three. There he is, heading the ball.
Pulisic over Giroud. Tierney. There's that same ball again. It should run through to Caballero. But it's the right kind of approach.
What I don't understand is we're watching from a high on here, and you could see that Aubameyang was going to come short and spin in behind, but Zuma didn't read it. And if the ball had been a perfect one, Aubameyang was going to get to it first. Zuma just has to drop off 5 yards, say, go on, if you want to hit into the space, I'll get there first. If you want to play it into his feet, then I'll make ground up as the ball's played in there.
Chelsea do need to find the goal-scoring thrust, which has been a key part of their season. And this might be a way to do it. And the confusion there between Jorginho and Marcos Alonso. And Jorginho, who scored in both the league games against Arsenal this season, could have scored in the FA Cup final as well.
You see that so often. Alonso sets up Mason Mount here and then just continues his run into the area. Oh, man, it's a really poor effort from Jorginho. Underneath it, the inside of his right boot. That was a chance. It's a right-footed play. He's just got to hit through the back of that.
It's just distracted more than the clean hit that the chance deserved, really. The goal here is their 101st of the season for Chelsea. A little bit ahead of Arsenal in that respect. By Rudiger. There's a fair bit of talk about Pulisic and Aubameyang playing together at Borussia Dortmund, getting on very well together. And they both scored in the FA Cup final here at Wembley for their respective teams to set it up, really. And as has been said, us and many other, I'm sure many of you watching at home, this is a very hard final to call, to separate the ambition and the attacking talents of both these clubs. And Pepe's had a goal disallowed, and to get into a shooting position again, went for the pass, trying to slide it through to Lacazette. It's brought out by Kovacic. Well, the gates are not open here, but the football is. Zuma in his slightly adjusted position.
At the start, you'd have thought that Chelsea were going to dominate the game. They were going to create chance after chance with the formation they were playing, the space they were getting in behind Arsenal's midfield. It's all changed in the last 20 minutes or so. Arsenal, the more confident side.
Surely there will be movement in the goalkeeping market from Chelsea. Arrizabalaga virtually phased out at the end of the season. Sometimes if you play in the last league game and there's a cup game to come, the other goalkeeper gets to go in the cup. He hasn't been accorded that privilege. He's only played in one of the rounds. And, he did beat Liverpool. Beating Liverpool and Manchester United, and then Arsenal will be quite a way to win the FA Cup for Chelsea.
Sides have got here games. United away for Arsenal. Game against Manchester City, which nobody expected them to win.
So Reece James in that infield fullback position again. that Chelsea use as well as Arteta, Guardiola influence in the Gunners. Caballero's move those almost 40-year-old legs. Keep it in, the kick's not a great one. Now Aubameyang picks off Rudiger. Tentative defending again. Ceballos. Pepe gets the cross in. And headed back across. Aubameyang just pulled away at the far post, as he did when he scored the first goal against Manchester City. Lacazette's still waiting in the middle. Arsenal threaten again. They must have drawn great heart from the way they knocked out the holders in the semi-final. And even going at an early goal down here hasn't knocked them out of their stride. 5 minutes to go to half-time. Back by Xhaka. To by Bayeri. Here's Dani Ceballos. It's an engaging game. David Luiz. So with 4 players well up the field, strung across the field. There's David Luiz. Tierney. Drop it over James again. Maitland-Niles making the run. Comes across to Pepe. Bellerin forced into look like a crossing position, but it's Pepe who puts it in. Caballero went for it, didn't get there. It must have got a little bit on it because it's a corner. Just turned it away from Ainsley Maitland-Niles, who was roaring in beyond the far post.
And this is a good delivery from Pepe, just bending it beyond James on that far side. He gets the touch. So it's the defender that gets the touch. Caballero got too much on that.
Sailed out rather unconvincingly. Chelsea not out of the wood in this attack yet, but they should be now. Well, I say they should be, but they're certainly not. And Pepe's shot was blocked. Chelsea, who started the half with a swagger, are ending it with a struggle or two.
You're absolutely right. At the moment, Chelsea are all over the place defensively. Get the ball clear. Nobody to hit up front. That's why Alonso was in 2 minds what he was going to do. I think he was onside when the ball was played to him. It was with the first block. Arsenal very much in the ascendancy here.
Comes in from Pepe deep towards Aubameyang again. Another corner. Rob Holding is decent in the air, trying to make a use of himself just beyond the far post.
Jorginho that got the final touch on it. His holding strength, his ability in the air. That's a bit of pace, 1v1 defensively, but he is good in the air.
Arsenal really enjoying themselves at the moment. Can they get another goal to show for it and go in at half-time in front? Given away by Holding. Kovacic was looking for some support. He nearly had the ball taken off his right foot, but he just got the pass away in time. Chelsea under a bit of pressure. There's 10 points higher, 4 places higher in the Premier League than their opponents at Wembley. Rudiger. Put in by Bellerin. He keeps going. Can't quite manufacture a cross. He has been helping, not actually manufacture, but design the Arsenal club suits for this final. He's got an interest in the fashion business. Right under the referee, it was no foul on Pulisic. Oh, is it going to be another penalty? Anthony Taylor might have given it on the edge. He was looking through bodies to see exactly where the offence occurred.
I think he knew it was a foul. It's just where it was. It was just outside the box. Christensen, I'm not sure he get some of the ball here. Anything wrong. Pepe falls over as he tries to change direction. It's a good chance here for Arsenal.
That's a great chance.
Just making the point. She didn't touch him. He fell over as he changed direction.
And, you could see Anthony Taylor almost dropped to his knees to peer through the players between him and the incident. Maybe didn't quite see it perfectly.
There's a few players in this Arsenal side that have a go at this free kick. David Luiz is known for scoring 2 excellent free kicks with that technique that he uses.
Those 2 players in front of the wall in Arsenal colours have to be a metre away from the wall. That's nothing to do with social distancing, it's the laws of the game. And Lacazette took it on. Not sure he would have been the favourite when the free kick was given, but obviously maybe plan B or plan C, but it didn't produce the goal that could take Arsenal in at half-time, leading 2-1.
Yeah, he's trying to wrap his foot round it, but it was a fairly poor effort in the end. Big chance as well, but Arteta will be very pleased with the way the last, say, 25 minutes have gone. His team have been in control.
And they don't want the half to come to an end, and they've got 5 more minutes of added time. Part of that, the injury to Azpilicueta, which needed the substitution. Also, of course, the drinks break has to be factored in. VAR having a look also has to be factored in. And it's good to see that, especially with a half like this, it's his opener first half in, I guess, equally spread. Well, obviously, last year Manchester City romped it against Watford. There was a lot of attacking play in that, but it's, you don't get that many cup finals where both teams score. If you look back down the years, the majority is a win to nil. And in a sense, we've got a bonus to the way this game has gone and the way the defending has been. I feel there might be more goals in the offing. Sometimes with 2 teams with a week to prepare for a final, knowing that their Achilles heels are defending, the coaches spend the whole week working on the defending, and you end up with a game full of attritional football. Obviously hasn't been the case at Arsenal and Chelsea over the past 5 or 6 days. It's been a very good watch, and I hope wherever you're watching it, you're appreciating the quality of the play and the significance of the game, even though Wembley is not awash with noise as it normally would be.
That's where Giroud should be attacking the ball rather than waiting for it to come to him. I think the error has to go long because Arsenal are pressing the back 3 of Chelsea. He's got to start winning balls in the air and linking up the play. He's going to be a very frustrated man at half-time, Frank Lampard. First 15 minutes, the 2 wide players came in field and found space. The 2 holding midfield players got on the ball and made things happen. Giroud won a couple of balls in the air.
Giroud does get his head to that one. James trying to join in. But it is similar to the semi-final for Arsenal in that they had some dicey moments in the first 10 or 15 minutes against Manchester City, but got away with them. They didn't get away with the one that led to the Pulisic opening goal. But from that position, they grew in confidence, and have done that again here. And probably will be thinking, well, actually, he could be the team going in front.
James trying to do the opposite to Maitland-Niles on that occasion. Make the forward run, try and break the offside line, take Maitland-Niles into a position he didn't want to be in.
It's only Aubameyang really making that kind of run. Lacazette quite likes to come deep and get it to feet.
I think he's also coming deep to leave the space for Aubameyang to run into. Almost leaving 1v1 against was Azpilicueta. Now it's Zuma. The last pass wasn't quite good enough.
Giroud. Flicked it on, but there's a little bit of a push by Mason Mount, who first came to Wembley as a Portsmouth supporter in 2008, came to the semi-final here, and the final, of course, which was won by Pompey. Would he have been 7 or something like that? Mason Mount. And of course it was won, the FA Cup won by an English manager, Harry Redknapp, who is the uncle of Frank Lampard. He'll be the next in line as an Englishman to lead the team as a manager to FA Cup triumph. Well, we've got a Spaniard who's trying to follow in the footsteps of the likes of Rafa Benitez and Roberto Martinez. And of course, Pep Guardiola.
Mason Mount losing possession, then tries to win it back. Commits the foul. I'm not sure he does too much again. Ceballos actually puts his foot into Mason Mount. He's a bit unlucky there.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's all on the referee now. The part of the players shouting for it. You've got no crowd. If it had been at the end, say, where the Arsenal fans would be, judging by where all the decking is, Arsenal fans will be behind the end that the Gunners are attacking here. And a real roar for the free kick. Trying his luck. Into the right wing-back position ahead of Xhaka. Here is David Luiz. If Chelsea were to break, here he is, the Brazilian, former Chelsea man. 2 different spells at Stamford Bridge. Maitland-Niles. Well, it's half-time in a very engrossing FA Cup final here at a very quiet Wembley. Mikel Arteta will be pleased with the way his team have come back after conceding a very early goal inside 5 minutes to Christian Pulisic. And Arsenal looked a little short of their best, but they had a goal disallowed from Nicola Pepe, and then Aubameyang got away, was brought down by Azpilicueta for a penalty. Azpilicueta later had to go off, and Chelsea had to make a defensive change as well. The Arsenal skipper banged in the spot kick. And at half-time here in the FA Cup final, it is Arsenal 1, Chelsea 1. The good things that Chelsea were doing at the start of this FA Cup final, which brought them that opening goal, and maybe a little bit of overconfidence, I don't know. I think not, probably, because in an FA Cup final, they've won a lot of games. But when they don't win, they usually lose rather than draw. Of course, it has to be decided here. We've got extra time if required. We've got a penalty shootout if required. We do start the second half level. And straight away there's a ball into the area where Arsenal have had a lot of joy in the first half, and where Chelsea have had to make a change as well. They're going to keep doing that, Stuart, do you think, or will Chelsea get wise to it?
Well, I think that's been their game plan. They did it against Manchester City, and it worked for them. It's the movement of Maitland-Niles that is causing the most problems, and also Lacazette. Although Aubameyang is the threat with his movement in behind and his pace, it's the movement of those other 2 players that is just creating space for Aubameyang to run into.
Rudiger goes long. Played off by Giroud. And Pulisic's on his way, and he could go all the way here. In the end, went for a bit of placement.
Looks like he might have pulled his hamstring as well. What a good run it was, a set-up play by Giroud into Pulisic. But watch Tierney here. Holding isn't particularly quick. Holding can't catch it, but Tierney runs away from the danger area and just allows Pulisic to run towards goal. And as he tries to bend it with the inside of his right foot, I think he's just pulled his hamstring here. That's bad news for him and bad news for Chelsea. It's a big chance. You can see he's actually screaming before he took the shot. That's why he probably didn't get it on target. Look, he's already starting to scream.
It's gone, hasn't it?
Yeah. And that's a major blow right at the start of the second half for Chelsea.
All credit to him, because he must have known for a fraction of a second that he would be going off, and he could have been going off with 2 to his name, and Chelsea back in front. Callum Hudson-Odoi is one possible alternative. It's a brains trust there. But Willian not fit to be involved on the team sheet today. Maybe he'll be fit for the Champions League game in Munich, but it could be that he's played his last game for the club. His contract's up. There is talk even of him taking up an offer from Arsenal.
There's also Pedro that could come on. He's been out of favour a little bit at Chelsea since Frank Lampard took over.
It's not just Chelsea are in the wars. Tierney. Pulisic looks like he's going the same way as Azpilicueta, similar injury. And again, we emphasise the number of games that have been played since restart in a very short space of time. The clubs were adamant they wanted longer to prepare and get the players up to the right level of fitness. They've actually, it is Pedro who's going to come on with his greater experience. And Pulisic, well, he's left an imprint on the final, nearly two. Two injuries to strain and stretch not just the muscles but Chelsea's resources.
He got away from Holding, hadn't he? Holding was really struggling at the pace. It was a really bad decision to go across the field and not come across and block the run of...
We're talking about players leaving the club. Pedro, of course, is bound for Serie A and Roma. Not until the workload this campaign has finished.
He's had a hit-and-miss career, I would say, at Chelsea. As Pedro, my manager liked him, and Antonio Conte was a regular for him. He hasn't been quite so keen on him.
Just turned 33, Pedro. His best days maybe behind him, but he's certainly got the potential for a cameo here, and he's a very vibrant player. Vibrant like that.
Well, there's the pace again, or lack of it from Holding. Good pace from Pedro, just coming on. Not that much of a warm-up. Good first touch. The way he stays in the middle. He's got a cross in there. Maybe not. He just about got back and got a block in, but there's the threat. Pedro with his pace.
Giroud trying to get free. Alonso's good in the air as well. And well claimed by Emi Martinez, who's done a very good job. We haven't really mentioned that he's the backup goalkeeper. Leno was injured down at Brighton back in June. And Arsenal lost that game. The moments weren't good. Martinez has done an exemplary job. He's actually been at the club for 10 years since he was signed as a youth player from his native Argentina. Finally getting a run in the first team. He's been out on loan more times than he cares to remember. Through in the middle. In the end, Pepe had strayed from the opposite side, the same kind of area, different player trying to capitalise on any Chelsea weaknesses on the right side of their defending.
But that was better defending. Rudiger saw the run, went back and dealt with it. Again, Christensen was taken further up the field by the movement of Lacazette.
Tierney's got a decent length to the throw. Giroud was quick off the mark there, and actually probably was fouled, and he's turning to the referee and saying that. Game goes on. Tierney. Pepe again, well claimed. Very well claimed by Caballero. Committed himself to the interception. They're getting Pepe into the game. There's no doubting his talent, just a lack of consistency in his first season. And he could round it off by putting Arsenal into Europe. James.
There's always a question what his best position was when he came from Lille. Played all across the front three when he was Liga. He's now found his best position out on that right-hand side, coming in on his left foot.
At the moment, he's out on the left and Aubameyang on the opposite flank. Arsenal try and squeeze Chelsea in. James flicks it on. It's there again. Now, Zuma, very popular member of the Chelsea squad. Happy-go-lucky, friendly guy. James. Looking for Giroud. In the end, Rob Holding did just about enough. Giroud was edging away from him. Now Xhaka. Lacazette, stopped by Rudiger. Giroud. Seen a great deal of Mason Mount, apart from that early shot, which forced Martinez into a good save. And he's not going to get that ball played back. This direction by Kovacic.
There's just a chance there for Kovacic to use the outside of his right boot to bend it into the space for Mason Mount.
Lacazette. Well, to keep it under some challenge. Pepe does look in the mood. Anthony Taylor's not in the mood to give him a free kick there, though.
Arteta went mad on the side. I'm not sure who he was going mad at. I think he's going mad at Pepe there, rather than the referee. Pepe was away from his man before he threw himself to the ground.
It's good tussling from Lacazette, who had his lows as well as highs with Arsenal. He hasn't always been in the team. The balance, should they play him with Aubameyang? I think they found the way that it works with Aubameyang liking to come from the left-hand side. They do depend on the two for goals. Martinelli, the young Brazilian who had a very good spell midway through the season, was out for a while through injury. Eddie Nketiah, who was suspended from the semi-final, is available on the bench today. Aubameyang. Bellerin. Ceballos. Interesting mindset here, Stuart. Now both sides have had their periods of supremacy in the first half. Both got a goal in those periods of supremacy. Now we're getting to the business end of the final. Got a lot to gain, but a fair bit to lose if you overcommit.
Still think at the moment Arsenal a slightly better side. It's difficult for Chelsea to get up the pitch at the moment, apart from that run from Pulisic and then Pedro. Not actually playing any combination football to get themselves higher up the field.
Giroud tussling with David Luiz, who pulls him back. You might expect a yellow card for that. Anthony Taylor hasn't shown any inclination to produce one.
There you saw Giroud was actually holding the shirt of David Luiz to start with. Should have been the foul the other way. That's when once he got turned, that's when David Luiz fouled him. It's difficult for referees when two players are challenging in the air or challenging for a dropping ball. There's going to be contact.
Kovacic. Jorginho. The substitute, Andreas Christensen. James. No sign of either manager departing from the defensive system. Christensen nearly caught. Lacazette closing him down. It's an excellent piece of distribution by Caballero. It's been a link with Manuel Neuer, of course, for Chelsea. Whether when they get to Munich there might be some business being done next weekend.
Wouldn't be a bad signing, would he, Manuel Neuer?
Doing business in Germany, Chelsea. Kai Havertz apparently on their radar as well, although everybody's been at pains to deny that. Bayern Leverkusen, his present club, here's Jorginho. And it was one chase with plenty of gusto by Mason Mount, who is good at breaking from slightly deeper positions to get in behind. Not quite sure Arsenal have got a chance to break here. Pepe, Lacazette. He knew the ball was on to Aubameyang, but he can't. First touch wasn't great. Chelsea haven't cleared the danger yet. And Granit Xhaka, he probably doesn't shoot as much as the Arsenal fans want him to do. He had a crack that time, it's way off target. Chelsea got away with this.
Well, Aubameyang was in space for a lot of the time here. Zuma has to go across to try and cover the run of Lacazette. That meant Aubameyang was free, but Lacazette couldn't quite get it there with the pace he wanted, and Christensen got himself into a good position eventually. The first touch from Aubameyang wasn't quite good enough.
He likes to come in onto his right foot like that, but it would have been better. There was more space down the other side. Again, easy to see from where we're sitting, but not so easy to put into practice when the ball's coming your way. A fine exponent of the art of getting goals from outside to in. Aubameyang. Not that time. Here's Rudiger. On the short side, but Pedro turned it into a pass. Jorginho. Now Mount. Nicely brought down. First time by James. It's a wave of appreciation from Giroud, but it nearly found Alonso. Can be an extra threat coming around the back, and the wing-back position allows him to gamble into those areas.
And that's one of his major strengths, Alonso. Far post, heading the ball.
Good Wembley record. He scored the Chelsea win when Tottenham were the tenants here. He scored 2 in a 2-1 success in a London derby against Arsenal's rivals. Chelsea get a free kick.
He just piled into the back of Mason Mount. He almost had a chance, didn't he, when he made that run from outside to in. And Holding, got away from Holding again, showed a lack of pace when he was chasing back. Jorginho looking to play that ball forward.
James. 1-1 at Wembley. Coming up to the hour mark. James has a crack. Comes out to Lacazette. Pepe. He's gone into trouble in the shape of Rudiger. Bounce back up, and then has to bounce back up again. Anthony Taylor's given the free kick. It certainly looked a foul. We're a long way away.
As well, just to lift it over the challenge. Just lifts it up in the air, and Alonso, poor effort to make contact with the ball. Clear foul. Certainly been in the game more in the second half, Pepe.
It's a real balancing act for these two relatively inexperienced managers. Both very fine players. And have had the midfield battles in this fixture down the years.
The decision Lampard may have to make is whether he brings on Tammy Abraham at some point, so they've got more pace running in behind Arsenal. He's never going to run in behind David Luiz.
Problem that he's got, of course, is he's made 2 substitutions at specific times. Make a change at half-time, so he's got 1 more in 90 minutes. He's got 1 more bout of substitutes. If he brings on 1, then he can't bring on anybody else. You can bring on another substitute, of course, in the added time. Sometimes you do find 2 and then followed by 3 in one go with the 5 that are allowed. What you can't do is bring them on in separate occasions. Be quite a unique person to be the 6th substitute used by a club in an FA Cup final, which is possible. Here's Pedro trying to settle it in 90 minutes, Chelsea's way. There's a check back and encourage James to have another crack. At least they're working one player, and it's Reece James more often than not into shooting positions after a passive end to the first half for Chelsea.
Yeah, it's good play from Kovacic just to play it round the corner to Pedro. Could he have a strike there? I thought he could. He got away from David Luiz. James was in a worse position. It's a poor effort in the end, slicing off the outside of his boot. That's where they were finding space in that first 20 minutes. One of the wide players coming in behind Arsenal's midfield. Kovacic played a lovely ball round the corner to Pedro.
Jorginho. Almost trying to get to him. Arsenal do feel if they can dispossess Jorginho, wants the ball all the time, they can get behind him with the pace that they might have that Jorginho lacks. His composure, mostly kept the ball.
He provides a pivot, doesn't he, Jorginho?
He does. Here he is. Christensen joins in. A tighter second half. Suitably even in a cup final that was always hard to call. Arsenal struggling to get it away. Brought down by Pedro. That's for handball. Going to get a throw.
Just for a moment there when Mason Mount was running with the ball and a couple of players were trying to just pinch it off him. A chance they could have given a penalty away there, Arsenal.
Chelsea did win the cup 3 years ago with a penalty. Eden Hazard against Manchester United. I'm sure he's watching on with interest. Unless he's got a game, I'm not sure. It's a decent ball. Maitland-Niles mops it up. Better from Chelsea this. A period of a little bit more domination.
Just forcing Arsenal back that little bit more now. Here's the ball played into the box. Maitland-Niles was in a good position there.
Zuma. David Luiz. His first touch was a heavy one. He made sure he made a legitimate second touch and got it out of harm's way. Giving away 5 penalties this season, David Luiz. Jorginho spraying the passes, goes wider this time. Alonso did well to keep it in. It's more good work from Chelsea this. Starting to give Arsenal some problems. They get another corner.
Mount has just gone over to that left-hand side for the moment. Pedro's come to the right. Good bits of play. Mason Mount making those diagonal runs.
Here's the tide starting to turn. The club down by the Thames. With sunshine and shade around Martinez. Goalkeepers don't seem to wear caps these days.
Tierney was the player that headed it away. Zuma probably just crashed into the back of him here. Doesn't do too much, right? Just the arm comes out. Tierney tries to say it was a head injury. There was no contact with his head.
Billy Gilmour, who might have been in Chelsea's midfield today, showed some outstanding promise. A young Scot going through the Rangers system in Scotland. Needed surgery. Chelsea's casualty list is mounting with the 2 injuries here today. By Maitland-Niles into Ceballos. Now Holding. Bellerin, 2 of Arsenal's successful team against Chelsea in 2017.
Missed an opportunity there to play the ball forward. Lacazette made a brilliant run on the side of Rudiger.
Drops for Bellerin to go forward here. He's got Pepe outside him and he's going on through the middle. Christensen stretches across but only plays it to Pepe, who can keep going. Arsenal got an overload here. Aubameyang, can he find a way through? You bet he can. That is top class. And from 1-0 down, Aubameyang has personally turned it round. 2 in the semi-final, 2 in the final. It's Arsenal 2, Chelsea 1.
Well, there was a challenge in midfield. Chelsea might say was a foul. What a finish it was from Aubameyang. Again, he found space on this left-hand side. We talked about him coming in on his right foot, bending balls into the corner, and he used that to his own advantage here. Bellerin does well. Charges through a couple of challenges. But this is the challenge. Christensen wins the ball. Does Bellerin catch him? That's what VAR would be looking at. He's certainly onside, Aubameyang. He threatens to shoot with his right foot, chops it back onto his left, and what a clever finish into the far corner. Good run from Bellerin, but is it a foul here? Well, I think that is a foul. And Christensen, he's late. Christensen won the ball. What a finish it was from Aubameyang.
Well, the check is complete, the goal stands, and it's come as the last act before the three-quarter mark if we finish in 90 minutes. But here's a player who's been talking about needing to leave, to better himself. Arsenal have given him responsibility, they've made him captain, they've said, we want you, we desperately need to keep you. Go and win us the FA Cup, you'll have European football, and hopefully Arteta will be thinking, the board will back the contract that Aubameyang wants, and goodness me, surely Stuart deserves.
Absolutely, he's been outstanding for Arsenal. I think the first season he came, he didn't play quite as well as people expected him to. He wasn't found the right position for him, but coming off this left-hand side onto his right foot, making those diagonal runs. The game plan is all based around Aubameyang and how he can find space and other players work to give him that little bit of room to run into. It's now Frank Lampard that's got the big problems. Aubameyang has been brilliant. This is where it started. They are in.
Well, you said he hadn't played it forward just before that, and he decided to go forward to good effect.
Both players were on the ground. Bellerin got himself up to just see enough of the finish from Aubameyang.
Well, we said the one earlier, a few minutes earlier, where he went in on his right foot and didn't take the option of the left, maybe thinking that he couldn't do it on the left. And he did it brilliantly, absolutely brilliantly.
If you keep coming in on your right, what players eventually, they try and block the right, and then he can chop it back onto his left.
And Christensen needed a bit of attention, and Bellerin as well. They're both back on. Well, Chelsea, who were just looking as though they were the team in the ascendancy, as Giroud trying to figure on. Actually, if he got a big header on it, he might have looped it over Martinez, who didn't see maybe the potential danger there.
At the moment, Giroud doesn't look as though he's going to get on the end of anything. But Luis has had a very comfortable game up against him.
Forward by Zuma. Zuma having to chase his own flick. David Luiz in control. Tierney, a little bit fortunate that got through to Lacazette. Arsenal's throw. 20 minutes to go. And still the possibility of going.
He won't be coming on. Timo Werner, he might do next season.
No, but he was at the last game, the last league game. He's obviously betting himself into life in London, and we wish him well. I'd love to be able to use him now.
I was going to say, what an addition he will be. Not going wrong for Frank Lampard here. Two players off with injuries. Christensen's limping around as the middle centre. One of the subs that he's put on.
Arsenal got worked over a bit by Manchester City, 1-0 and 2-0, but stood firm in the semi-final. And they need similar resilience. And Rudiger to knock it forward, holding, back-pedalling. He's pleased to get the header and not to have to chase back towards his own goal. Here's Marcos Alonso. Alonso's there again. It's not the most decisive clearance, certainly the highest of the day. It's a bit of a nibbling challenge.
He's got to be careful. It's Kovacic.
Yeah.
He's actually booked one of the Arsenal players for appealing for a booking. One of the Arsenal players ran up to the referee and waved an imaginary card. Anthony Taylor, and that's why he got booked. I'm not sure who it was.
Kovacic has survived. Anthony Taylor using Aubameyang maybe as a sounding board, the Arsenal skipper.
Sending off, he sent off Kovacic.
Oh, he had to think about it, and he's given the second yellow to Kovacic. It gets worse and worse for Chelsea. It did look like that in the first place. And Anthony Taylor took his time.
I think that's a poor decision. It is again. And he's making every attempt to go for the ball. Xhaka makes the most of it.
It's the same two players involved as in the first yellow card.
And then one of the Arsenal players, it's Ceballos, who got the yellow card as well, because he was waving and imagining a yellow card at the referee. I think that's a poor decision.
Well, when they met before, you might remember Victor Moses was sent off in the cup final. So Chelsea, 10 men, a man down, a goal down. It's in Arsenal's hands now, you feel.
There's something going on off the ball here between Lacazette and Christensen.
Anthony Taylor's got some more sorting out to do, and it's spilling over here. And sometimes you think it's fueled by the crowd that rile the passions of the players, but we've got no excuse for this now. Yes, it's a major competition. It's another yellow card, this time for Rudiger.
The confrontation with Mikel Arteta over on that far side. Mikel Arteta wanted to give the ball back quickly enough.
He gets booked. Arteta as well, of course. The new system that's come in, that cards go to those in the dugouts as well. Of course, they have been reported and sent off in previous incarnations of the laws of the game, but now it's the same as the players. He'll take that if he goes home with the FA Cup.
Absolutely. His team are in the ascendancy now, 2-1 up against 10 men. It's the other way round in the league game at Stamford Bridge. Still got it back.
Lampard is getting Ross Barkley and Tammy Abraham.
He's got to get more legs on the pitch. He must get more legs on the pitch now, Lampard.
Unless he hopes to get extra time, he's got to get 3 on in one go, hasn't he? And he's got Callum Hudson-Odoi joining those other two as well. This is the way the extra substitutes can be accommodated. It's to stop games with, say, 10 individual substitutions in one half of football, maybe 120 minutes of football. So you have 3 goes plus half-time where you can make changes which don't interfere with the other 3. Here's Pepe. Arsenal looking to kill it off, and you're thinking about Aubameyang, a hat-trick in the cup final. Gabriel Jesus and Raheem Sterling both got doubles last season. It's only happened at Wembley, the old Wembley, once, back in 1953, with Stan Mortensen of Blackpool, in a game that's remembered as the Stan Matthews final. Stan Mortensen to live with that for the rest of his life, and he got a hat-trick. He got a winner's medal, perhaps thanks to Stan Matthews.
Mason Mount has now gone back into a midfield position alongside Jorginho. Pedro's going to try and make as many runs as he can to support Giroud, who'll probably be coming off in a minute for Tammy Abraham.
It's interesting, older viewers might recall cup finals of bygone times before substitutes were allowed, any substitutes, and there were major injuries in this showpiece game that rather ruined the competitive nature of a lot of them. And so there's pressure because of that, and Martinez has committed himself a little bit riskily there.
It wasn't good play from Holding to start with, just kicked the ball straight up in the air. Martinez a bit of a mess of it.
This conforms to protocol. Olivier Giroud, as forecasted by Stuart Robson, goes off. Rudiger, who's been booked, also departs. And Mason Mount as well. So that's the 5 permitted by Chelsea in 90 minutes.
Well, there's the man that's going to play through the middle, Tammy Abraham.
A different kind of centre forward.
They'll go to just 2 centre-halves now, rather than the 3, Rudiger going off. Barkley will join Jorginho in central midfield, and Hudson-Odoi will start on the right-hand side. Pedro on the left.
There's Pedro. Abraham on the move in the middle. And Hudson-Odoi coming in behind him.
That's good play from Pedro on the left-hand side, 1v1 against Holding. Just swept the ball to the byline and a good crossing.
Tierney flung himself at it but didn't touch it. The throw goes Arsenal's way. And look at the watch for Frank Lampard. It's a weird thing to say, probably. Forgive me for saying it if you think it's weird. But they really need to try and win it, Chelsea, in 90 minutes. Because if they get an equaliser and go to extra time, playing with 10 men, even though half of them will be a bit fresher, surely still the cards would be held by Arsenal.
Arsenal going to make a substitution as well. Nketiah, the man coming on.
Jorginho. Ooh, that's close. That's close. Martinez suddenly grabbed it at the last minute, thinking he was coming out to head it away from Abraham. Flag stayed down. Checked and not found to be handball, otherwise we'd have had another twist to the drama. It was an instinctive reaction from the Arsenal keeper. James now is playing as an orthodox right back. Just for the record, Kevin Moran, Manchester United against Everton. Jose Antonio Reyes, Arsenal against Manchester United. Pablo Zabaleta, Manchester City against Wigan. Chris Smalling, United against Palace. Victor Moses, Chelsea against Arsenal. And now Mateo Kovacic, Chelsea against Arsenal. FA Cup final red cards.
And I think he's very unlucky on both accounts. He thought that Xhaka committed the foul in the first place. The same 2 players went for the next one. There's hardly any contact. He's made a big call, the referee, Anthony Taylor, on 2 occasions. And I think he's got it wrong.
And Lacazette gives way. It's not a defensive move from Arteta. Another central striker, promising Eddie Nketiah, who started the season on loan at Leeds. So I guess he could get a championship medal and an FA Cup winners' medal in the same season.
He's had a busy afternoon, hasn't he?
Yeah, and I think amongst the rank and file refereeing fraternity, no disrespect to Anthony Taylor at all, but they felt that this policy down the years of it's once-in-a-lifetime chance in by Tierney. Ooh, and it's skewed away in the end by Zuma. But there should be a senior referee who's around in the Premier League panel at the moment that could have got the final, and not Anthony Taylor. Not, as I say, any disrespect to the match official today. Well, 8 minutes plus stoppage time away from not being the outcome that Frank Lampard came here dreaming of. Maitland-Niles. It's going to be a corner off Jorginho. Arsenal in no great hurry to take it.
A couple of times Jorginho's had to be in the danger area to get balls away with his head. He's going to be in no rush to take this. Anthony Taylor has stopped his watch.
There are regulations, of course, about disinfecting the footballs, and ones that are put around the ground can be used. Ball boys. Corner for Arsenal. Aubameyang couldn't reach it. Ooh, there's a nasty fall there for Dani Ceballos. When you're 2-1 up in a cup final, you make light of it, but I bet it's a sore one.
A couple of the youngsters have got to do it for Chelsea now. Tony Abraham, Hudson-Odoi, of the future, and well this season.
Ross Barkley's their top scorer in the cup, isn't he? So maybe it'll be another moment for the ex-Everton man. See, the balls are put on those little plinths there. All the players regularly tested, of course, for COVID-19. In by Tierney. Not very far away by Marcus Alonso, collected by Pepe, wedges in the ball that James only half clears. Nketiah in the mix, holding well forward. The flag is up for offside. Gary Bezic. A lot of FA Cup tradition in the Lampard family. His dad, Frank Senior, won it a couple of times with West Ham. By Maitland-Niles. Dani Ceballos winding up for the shot. Just took too many touches, allowed Zuma to get in the way of it.
Chelsea are playing themselves into trouble. Not too long. They've got to go that little bit longer. You're a man down, it's very difficult to play it from the back if the opposition try and press you. Luiz has got a problem.
The unmistakable figure of David Luiz, who was magnificent in the semi-final and has been pretty good today. But has had to live with a lot of criticism. For, as I say, the odd howler, maybe regularly giving away penalties, getting red cards. But he's been at the top level for a long time. He has a lot going for him as well. But his distinctive hairstyle and his personality. This is Socrates, who actually hasn't played for Arsenal since the restart. It looks as though he's going to be needed here. Mustafi, of course, not fit at the beginning. Luiz looks as though... Is he going to come back on? He's a warrior. I think, given that the replacement is somebody who hasn't played any competitive football since back in March. What's happening, says Socrates, looking for a bit of wisdom from somewhere else.
He throws his arms up in the air. I don't think he's too happy, is he? I thought he was coming on.
At the moment, Arsenal down to 10 men. It's 10 against 10. Chelsea take advantage of that.
That's what they have to do. They have to get it from back to front, Chelsea, a little bit quicker.
Well, David Luiz, I think, has accepted that he is going off. Maybe not his own will. Yeah. So the Greek defender comes on for the last 3 minutes plus stoppage time, unless that Arsenal defence, which has now had to make a change, is breached and Chelsea can take it to extra time. 2-1, as it was 3 years ago in the Gunners' favour. And there's also a sending off. Barkley. James. Here's Christensen. Jorginho wanting to play it a bit more forward than that. Barkley was available. Jorginho back on the ball again. And there's another card out for Ross Barkley this time.
And how many times you see a player sent off when they lose possession of the ball and then try and win it back? He thinks he can take it beyond the player and then stretches. He does catch Nketiah. That challenge is worse than either of the two that Kovacic made.
And it's a Barkley card at Wembley. Caballero. Chelsea have to be in a hurry. All the big calls, really, they will feel have gone against them here. Certainly the injuries, Abraham knocks it down. Arsenal clear through Holding. James. That's good work by Reece James. Chelsea need that kind of inspiration. Where's he going to go with it? Barkley. Pedro, all positive energy. That's one the goalkeeper can pick up. But I know you're totally impartial, Stuart. That's why you're here. But your old club getting close to another FA Cup success.
And I think they've deserved it on the way they dominated that last 20-25 minutes of the first half, the way they started the second half. They haven't won it yet. There's still going to be another 7 minutes added on at the end of the game.
Pedro. Yes, I only heard that after I'd asked you the question. So apologies for almost dropping you in it. Yes, 7 could be significant minutes to go. 1 goal in the second half. There's confirmation. There's 7. A little bit of heaven for Chelsea. Renew their energies. James. Man-like, but a lot of substitutes on. Alonso's done well here. Very miscalculated, and Chelsea get a corner.
He did really well there, Alonso. Bellerin thought he could win the first ball with a big diagonal from Jorginho. Bellerin's not even looking at the ball. That's a poor challenge from Bellerin.
Still getting Alonso forward, despite the fact that they've taken one of their centre-backs off. But they'll throw everything they possibly can. All the work that's been done at set pieces. And that's what Emi Martinez has done emphatically since he got the chance when Bernd Leno was injured down at Brighton. Yeah, it's a heavy fall, but late in the game, disrupt Chelsea. Good goalkeeping.
Good goalkeeping. It's not a particularly good set play. Everybody's in and around that near post area, but they were trying to isolate Alonso up against Tierney. I'm not quite sure, but there's every chance that the goalkeeper Martinez was going to come and catch it.
What I would say is if they were to lose him, their reserve goalkeeper's never played in the first team. Matt Macy. It's nail-biting for Chelsea, and indeed for Arsenal, who want to get the job done. Emi Martinez, 10 years a gunner, but not often in the place, not often in the house. Up and down the byways of English football, being out on loan. And he said his last loan would be his last one. That was at Reading. He's coming back to make his family proud in Argentina. He broke their hearts, really, when he left as a 16-year-old to come and join Arsenal's youth setup. And it was very difficult for him. He's a few minutes away from how worthwhile it is, but it's now Pedro. And Martinez is needed again.
was almost good play from Pedro. He took it into a position where he could get the cross in. You usually expect him to hit a better cross than that. He's been excellent. Martinez, since he got into the side.
Well, he's rather kicked it away here when with an extra man you think Arsenal will be better at retaining possession. It's a little bit of, not panic, but nerves coming in. Dani Ceballos, it's another of those where he's reaching for a ball. Jorginho did well to get there before him, and here's Ross Barkley. Inspiration. Chelsea need it. One of the young players maybe like Reece James gets the cross in. Arsenal defend it and break out, sort of counter-attack. Aubameyang on a hat-trick, of course. Not even going to be seen as a foul. Anthony Taylor has had some interesting calls to make. And Nketiah judged to have run into the challenge. Halfway through the added time. Chelsea desperate to take it to extra time. Barkley. Pedro. Goalkeeper's ball again.
They're getting it from one end to the other pretty well at the moment, Chelsea. It's been passing or going that little bit longer, but the final pass hasn't been good enough. There was a chance to roll it inside of holding for Tammy Abraham, but just hit too firmly. At least he has posed a threat in behind.
Nketiah gets his head to it. Aubameyang doesn't. But it's Arsenal's throw, and a few more seconds passing. Well, the game's never up for the final whistle. Frank Lampard's been in the game a long time, even though he's a young manager. But the man from Gabon has been spot on for Arsenal.
There's been a difference between the teams. So many problems in that first half. He's got his 2 goals.
Forward by Jorginho. Kept alive by Hudson-Odoi. Christensen. Zuma says, give it to me. Alonso's well forward down that far side. And Chelsea get the second ball, and they're getting numbers. Barkley on the edge. He's got a good shot from range. He wants to get it onto his right foot and try again. Looks for a give and go. It might still come back to him. Arsenal could be in trouble here. Challenge on the edge. Not seen as a foul. But Pepe can't keep it. Running around Arsenal a bit like headless chickens now. And out comes Martinez. Martinez the bold. Martinez the brave.
Good goalkeeping. Pedro did well. Passed a couple of challenges. To a foul wasn't given. He couldn't believe it. They won the ball back, and Pedro racing down the side of Socrates, who does well just to get his body in the way. Good defending from the player that's just come on.
And yet another. Chelsea be struggling to get a squad to go to Munich next weekend. Looks like a damaged shoulder. Well, Stuart, I can now ask you about Arsenal's general level of performance. They're so close.
Well, I think it's the first 20 minutes they were struggling desperately. The challenge which wasn't given, probably should have been given as a foul. But you have to give credit to Mikel Arteta. He didn't change the tactics, but he got his way of playing over to the players. Aubameyang, Lacazette. The movement was excellent to get Aubameyang in behind Chelsea's back 3. Aspilicueta had a really troublesome time with the movement of Aubameyang, and the game plan that Mikel Arteta has tried to install into Arsenal over the last few weeks is starting to see the rewards of it. He's done well since he's been the manager of Arsenal. They've had 1 or 2 poor performances, poor results, but they've got better discipline-wise, tactically. I think he's getting the best out of some of his key players.
I said Kolasinac is coming on. Of course, if Pedro goes off, there's no other replacement. Chelsea will end with 9.
Well, the way they're bringing the oxygen, I hope he hasn't dislocated his shoulder here, because that is a very painful injury.
And with his move to Roma, I guess that will have been a deal that's been done. Here's the penalty won by Aubameyang, the penalty converted by Aubameyang to bring Arsenal level. And then this sublime, confident finish shows that he is a cut above the rest.
It is a great finish from him, great chopping it from his right foot onto his left. But what we saw there in the replay is that when Zuma goes to close him down by putting his arms behind his back to stop the ball hitting his arms in case he gives a penalty away, he just loses balance and it allows Aubameyang to go beyond him. Good skill, you have to say, but that's one of the things that by putting your hands behind your back, you cause yourself a problem defensively.
Well, Giroud's fortune in the FA Cup has finally come to an end. David Luiz, who made the move in the opposite directions on the right end of it. But for Chelsea, it could hardly have gone worse, really. With Azpilicueta off injured, Pulisic off injured, their goal scorer Pulisic off injured. Kovacic sent off on a questionable call, Stuart, wouldn't you say? You have said.
Yeah, I didn't think. I think we both agreed the first one could have been a foul against Xhaka.
Well, Xhaka could have been sent off in the first one.
He went over the top of the ball. He would say he was trying to shield it, put his foot across the ball. So
trying to protect himself, really.
Yeah, I think that's what he was doing. So that was a questionable yellow card. And the second one was even worse. All started so brightly for that man, Mason Mount, who was part of the move to set up that first goal for Pulisic. It's gone wrong for them ever since. Credit to Arsenal for that.
And Willian, just watching Willian today, had a good season, but Chelsea will be, I don't know, the way the modern game is, Stuart, if you're offered the chance of either finishing fourth and getting Champions League football or winning the FA Cup, only one or the other, which way does the modern manager think?
The modern manager, I hate to say, thinks about fourth place.
Yeah. And Chelsea have got that.
Yeah. But if you're a manager, you're going to be judged eventually by how many trophies you win. And sometimes a new manager has to win a trophy fairly on in their career because it takes them on to win the next one and the next one. And that's why people criticise Mauricio Pochettino.
Yeah. Show us your medals. Yeah. Well, this is a protracted delay, and it does look as though, given the need for oxygen and the stretcher, that Pedro has done some serious damage to that shoulder, and at the late stage of his career, particularly if you need surgery, it can be several months. But Ruben Loftus-Cheek not fit again, another one who missed out today, an option that Frank Lampard was denied. It is a blue day in more ways than one for the FA Cup finalists. A lot of sadness at the end of it, losing. But one assumes they're going to have to, well, they could get another substitute on if we did see a dramatic end to this. An extra player is allowed in extra time, but not in added time. Sympathy from his colleagues. Kolasinac has stood patiently on. Touchline, and he's still not on. We'll wait for the ball to go out of play. We are nearly there. It's just a question now of how much time added on by Anthony Taylor. We were a minute or so away when Pedro went down. Caballero. Bellerin is there. Arsenal give it to the man of the match, the man of the moment. Goodness me, are they going to want to score again? Are they going to take it and settle for the 2-1 in the corner? These things can get a bit heated in a game that's had its hot moments. It's still in play. It's not now.
Usually when Xhaka's around, it is going to be fairly fiery. It's everybody's cup of tea from the opposition.
And now they do bring on Kolasinac for Kieran Tierney, who goes off by the shortest route. Well, when Pulisic scored so early. It looked as though Chelsea were striding out for victory here against their London rivals. But Christian Pulisic has now seen how devastating the FA Cup can be, as well as being delightful.
Chelsea would love to have had that man on the field. Conte not quite fit enough to play any sort of part in the game today. He's on the bench, but not one of the substitutes that has been used.
It's Arsenal's FA Cup. Again, it's Arteta's FA Cup. The rookie manager who only arrived in December, but brought with him a feel for the club. He's done a personal double as player and manager with the Gunners in this competition. They win for the 14th time, extending their own record and booking a place in next season's Europa League. And number 14, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, has come up with the 2 goals that he did in the semi-final, this time from a goal down to Christian Pulisic early on. David Luiz, both delighted and consoling. Stuart Robson.
Well, I think Arsenal deserved it in the end. That man was excellent. Caused Chelsea all sorts of problems in that first half. He's done an excellent job. Even when they went 1-0 down, they didn't panic. They still stuck to their game plan. Just caused all sorts of problems. He had a good game, but his positional play, lack of it was highlighted in that first half. He wasn't quite sure whether to go infield, whether to stay in the space to defend. But overall, Arsenal, I think, just about deserved it. Yes, most of the decisions went their way, but you beat Sheffield United away from home, you beat Manchester City in the FA Cup here, and then you win the final against Chelsea. You deserve to win the FA Cup.
Yeah, Chelsea with injuries, Kovacic red-carded as well. And once more, Arsenal have got the better of them in the final, just like 3 years ago, just like in 2
game, but maybe for the start of next season.
Emi Martinez, what a fairy story it's been for him. A long time coming, mind you. He's played so well. The injured Mustafi is there. Martinelli, you've seen as well on the crutches. Waiting for the captain. He's done his man of the match interview. Only 8th in the league, but they knocked out the holders 2 weeks ago. And now they've beaten the team which finished 10 points above them in the Premier League. Been a challenging season at the Emirates Stadium, and now Mikel Arteta will be hoping to have his future plans backed by the board with silverware on board. Third and fourth, fifth rounds completed in January and February with the crowds in, the quarter and semi-finals, and today's final since restarting near isolation. But the world is watching, and the world is congratulating Arsenal today, despite all their difficulties, all the difficulties of putting on an event like this for the grand old competition. The most successful club in FA Cup history has just gone and done it again. Grab your medal, boys. No presentation. Checking if there's enough to go around for the injured players. And Matthew Smith there is not featured in the first team, but he was on the team sheet. He's entitled to one. Unprecedented times. The crowd noise may be fake, but the achievement is real. Now Aubameyang's future is still uncertain, but the present for him is absolutely perfect. And so appropriate that number 14 steps forward to confirm Arsenal winners for the 14th time in this heads-up cup final, lifting up the FA Cup, will be A for Arsenal, A for Arteta, A for Aubameyang. It's Arsenal's day at Wembley, and boy, are they proud. It's the most unique celebration of an FA Cup final presentation that I think the competition's ever seen. But wouldn't it be Aubameyang's way of doing it differently? But up it goes. Arsenal extend this record. The FA Cup has been very good to them, and they have been very good for the FA Cup. Final thoughts from the former gunner alongside me, Stuart Robson.
Well, you have to be pleased with Mikel Arteta. He's done a good job since he's been at Arsenal. And Aubameyang has been magnificent. He deserved his goals. He deserves to be the captain of this side. And Arsenal deserve the FA Cup.
And they've done it despite going a goal behind inside 5 minutes to their London rivals, Chelsea. They've had the sign over the team from Stamford Bridge again. I hope you've enjoyed our coverage here from Wembley. And it's finished. Let me remind you again. Arsenal fans will want me to remind you again. Arsenal 2, Chelsea 1.
Well, Clive Allen, it's a unique FA Cup final, and that was a fairly unique...
Behind to do it. Chelsea, much the better side right from the start. And it would be Christian Pulisic who would open the scoring. It would be the American who would start the move and then finish it.
Yeah, I mean, they come out flying, Chelsea, and it was an ominous start for Arsenal. I thought, oh, they're going to get overrun here. They were like a rabbit in the headlights. Defensively, they were all over the place. They were getting overrun in the middle of the park, which is what we talked about. And the link-up play here from Pulisic and Mount, and then the flick here from Giroud. We talked about his link-up play as well as his physicality. We also talked about the balance of this young man and his end product. It was just a brilliant start for Frank Lampard's men, but from that moment, kind of went downhill.
This moment would prove to be pivotal in the game. This is the first yellow card that Kovacic got just after 14 minutes. This looks harsh.
Well, he's making an attempt for the ball, and he gets a bad touch, and Xhaka steps over the ball to protect the ball. You know, it's rash. I can argue about yellow or not on that one. The second one we'll get to, but this was the ball that Arsenal were looking for. Got it out to Tierney, isolated Azpilicueta one-on-one with Aubameyang, and he was too clever. Even for Azpilicueta, who's a fantastic defender, one of the most experienced around, gets the wrong side, pulls him back, definite penalty kick. Starts outside, continues inside. I don't think there was a doubt that was a penalty.
And then Aubameyang steps up, no problem, to make it 1-1. Arsenal then dominating the rest of the first half. Into the second half we go, and this, you've got to feel sorry for Christian Pulisic, of course, so key in the opening 45 minutes for Chelsea. You can see he does the injury, doesn't he, before he kicks it?
Yes, hamstring, and the fact that he gets the shot away is incredible, because I've done my hamstring on running, not as quickly as Pulisic's, but when it goes, you hit the floor. And so he's out till next season now, you would imagine, and they lost him obviously for the game.
And then what a goal it would be that would prove to be the winner. Exceptional stuff from Aubameyang.
Absolutely brilliant. He just leaves Zuma for dead. I mean, he's so flat-footed, Zuma, it's scary. Aubameyang backs him up, shifts it onto the left, absolutely brilliant. However...
Now, is this a foul here?
Yes, when Christensen wins that ball, because the touch was getting away from Bellerin, he lunges in, and it's a clear foul.